Okay, so we're going to get started. Today's title is Israelite Americans. Israelite Americans. And so what we're going to be doing, we're going to be dealing with prophecy concerning the Israelite Americans. And we're going to show you that the Bible already told you what's going to happen to us, what was going to happen to us in the past, what's happening to us in the present, and we're not going to really deal too much with the future. So this lesson, just let me give this disclaimer real quick. This lesson is not to offend anyone of any race or of any nation. We're not speaking against the government. We're not speaking against financial institutions. We understand what God has written in the book, and we are right where we're supposed to be as Israelites.
Yes, sir.
And so once again, the title is Israelite Americans. And that's what we're going to deal with today. The Israelites that's in America. But first, before we go there, I'm going to just show you that God is a man of his word. He is a man of his word. Let's go to Numbers, the 23rd chapter. Numbers 23, and we're going to pick it up at verse 19. Numbers 23 and 19. Glad to see everybody come out today. Numbers 23 and 19. When you get it, brother, go ahead and read.
Yes, sir. Numbers chapter 23, verse 19. God is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent. Have he said, shall he not do it?
See, have he known? God is not a man that he should lie. He doesn't have any reason to lie, because who's going to stop him? Whatever he decides to do, who can stop him? No, there's no battle between God and Satan. The Lord tells Satan what to do. So he said, God is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent. Go ahead and read.
Have he said, shall he not do it?
See, he said, and he will do it. I mean, he will tell you, have his prophets to prophesy something 2,000 years, 3,000 years ago, and you see it coming to pass now. That's if you got eyes to see. Go ahead and read.
He said and shall not do it, or have he spoken and shall he not make it good?
See, whatever God says he's going to do, he is going to do it. Now, let me show you real quick. Let's go to 1 Kings, the 9th chapter, 1 Kings 9. And we're going to pick it up at verse 2. 1 Kings 9, and we're going to pick it up at verse 2. Everybody got it? Go ahead and read.
1 Kings chapter 9, verse 2. That the Lord appeared to Solomon the second time, as he had appeared to him in Gibeon. And the Lord said unto him.
Now this is when Solomon had finished building the temple and everything, and then so God is like going into a covenant with Solomon. And so he's going to tell Solomon, if you keep my commandments and everything, and do as your father did, your father David did, then I'm going to bless you. Go ahead and read.
Verse 3. And the Lord said to him, I have heard thy prayer and thy supplication that thou hast made before me. I have hallowed this house which thou hast built, to put my name there forever. And my eyes and my heart shall be there perpetually.
He said, I hallowed this house. Because, he just finished building the temple, so he said, I'm making this house holy. And my eyes and ears are going to be there perpetually. Go ahead and read.
And if thou wilt walk before me as David thy father walked, in integrity of heart and in uprightness, to do according to all that I have commanded thee, and wilt keep my statutes and my judgments, then I will establish the throne of thy kingdom upon Israel forever. As I promised to David thy father, saying, there shall not fail thee a man upon the throne of Israel.
See, because that's what was supposed to happen. That's what the Lord wanted to do. He wanted a king that come out of Judah to reign over Israel forever. And so if our people had kept God's laws, His commandments, and statutes, we'd still be over the land, and we have a Jew that would be king over us right now. Go ahead and read.
Verse 6.
Uh-huh.
But if ye shall at all turn from following me, ye or your children, and will not keep my commandments and my statutes which I have set before you, but go and serve other gods and worship them.
See, because Israel got a big problem with that, serving all these other gods except the God of Israel.
That's right.
Go ahead and read.
Then will I cut off Israel out of the land which I have given them, and this house which I have hallowed for my name, will I cast out of my sight.
So he's telling them, look, if you keep my commandments and everything, and don't serve these other gods, then I'm going to bless Israel. But if you go and serve other gods, then will I cut off Israel out of the land which I have given them. And this house which I have hallowed for my name, will I cast out of my sight. Now he warned them. I mean, we're going to see he warned them all the way back in Deuteronomy. But I just brought you right here to show you that God is not a man that he should lie. If he tell you he's going to do it, then he's going to do it. So he told them, if you keep my commandments, I'm going to bless you. If you don't, this house that I've hallowed, I'm going to cast it out of my sight. Go ahead and read. Talk about the temple now. Solomon's temple, the first temple. Go ahead and read. I'm sorry, just read that verse 7 again.
Verse 7.
Yep.
Then will I cut off Israel out of the land which I have given them, and this house which I have hallowed for my name, will I cast out of my sight, and Israel shall be a proverb and a byword among all people.
Now we're going to get into that in a minute. He said Israel will be a proverb and a byword among all people. That means people will have all these names for you when you go to these countries. You know how they call us the N-word and all that type of stuff. That's what he's talking about. Go ahead and read.
Verse 8. And at this house, which is high, everyone that passeth by it shall be astonished, and shall hiss, and they shall say, why has the Lord done thus unto this land and to this house?
Go ahead.
And they shall answer, because they forsook the Lord their God, who brought forth their fathers out of the land of Egypt, and have taken hold upon other gods, and have worshipped them, and served them. Therefore have the Lord brought upon them all this evil.
So now, we know that the Lord performed this. We know that the Lord performed this. Let's go now. Let's go to 2 Chronicles, the 36th chapter. 2 Chronicles 36. Because he told them, if you all go contrary to me, y'all break my laws and commandments, I'm going to tear down this house and I'm going to have this land destroyed even. And people going to walk by and they're going to hiss at it and ask what happened to them. Because they would not walk in his laws. Let's see if that happened. Because a lot of people say, well, that Bible y'all reading, that is nothing but Harry Potter. The prophets, they're not real. The children of Israel, those people never exist. But then they turn around and say, well, those were the Hitchcock's people. And I'm like, Hitchcock's? Why don't the Bible mention nothing about no Hitchcock's people? Why don't the Bible mention this? And then you just told me that they didn't exist. How can they be the Hyksos people then if they don't exist? Which is a lie anyway, though. So, we're in 2 Chronicles 36. 2 Chronicles 36, and we're going to pick it up at verse 11. Let's see if the Lord did what he said he was going to do to that house and to that land. 2 Chronicles 36 and 11. Go ahead and read it.
2 Chronicles chapter 36, verse 11. Zedekiah was 120 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord his God, and humbled not himself before Jeremiah the prophet, speaking from the mouth of the Lord. And he also rebelled against King Nebuchadnezzar, who had made him swear by God. But he stiffened his neck and hardened his heart from turning to the Lord God of Israel.
See, because Nebuchadnezzar had set him up, Zedekiah, before him Jehoiakim, and then before him Jehoiakim. And all of them went bad. So he said, you know what? We're going to install Zedekiah. So he installed Zedekiah. He was like a puppet king, though. Because the people were still behind Jehoiakim. So Zedekiah was like a puppet king. Go ahead for Israel. Go ahead and read.
14.
Moreover,
all the chief of the priests and the people transgressed very much after all the abominations of the heathen.
Look, they following after the abominations of the heathen now. The children of Israel. Go ahead and read.
And polluted the house of the Lord which he had hallowed in Jerusalem.
Go ahead. Now look what they're doing. They polluted the house of the Lord. Now remember what the Lord said now. If you don't keep my laws and my commandments and everything, I'm going to tear out this house and destroy this land. Now here they are polluting the house of the Lord, which he made holy. Go ahead and read.
Verse 15. And the Lord God of their fathers sent to them by his messengers, rising up betimes and sending, because he had compassion on his people and on his dwelling place.
And look, he sent the prophets to warn them. So the Lord is going to destroy y'all if y'all keep falling or transgressing against him. He's going to destroy you. And he's going to destroy this house and this land. But the people kept on sinning. Look at what they did. Go ahead and read.
But they mocked the messengers of God and despised his words.
Go ahead.
And misused his prophets until the wrath of the Lord arose against his people until there was no remedy.
See, they were sinning so much the Lord had it up to him with me. Like, you know what? I'm getting ready to do something to them. Because there was no remedy now. You know how it is. Mama keep warning you and warning you. And next thing you know, here come that belt. She been warning you all this time. And you still doing your thing. And here come that belt. So now here come the belt of the Lord. Go ahead and read.
17. Therefore he brought upon them the king of Chaldees, who slew their young men with the sword in the house of their sanctuary. In the house of their sanctuary, and had no compassion upon the young man, or maiden, old man, or him that stooped for age. He gave them all into his hand. And all of the vessels of the house of God, great and small, and the treasures of the house of the Lord, and the treasures of the king and of his princes, all these he brought to Babylon.
Now you see what he did. First thing he did was put that sword on them. Then he took away their wealth. Go ahead and read.
Verse 19. And they burnt the house of God.
Did the Lord say he was going to destroy this house? If Israel transgress against me and sin against me, after I've hollowed this house, I'm going to tear down this house and I'm going to destroy this land. Read that verse 19 again.
And they burnt the house of God.
And they burnt the house of God.
And break down the wall of Jerusalem.
Go ahead.
And burnt all the palaces thereof with fire. And destroyed all the goodly vessels thereof. And them that had escaped from the sword carried he away to Babylon, where they were servants to him and his sons until the reign of the kingdom of Persia.
So the Lord performed what he said he was going to do if the children of Israel transgressed against him. He burnt up that house and destroyed that land. Took their wealth first. Or first he dropped the sword on them, has a lot of them killed. Then he took their wealth and then burned down the house or the temple, and then destroyed the land and carried them off into Babylon, into captivity. Now, this happened in real, there's evidence of this. We're going to read this. Just read what's highlighted. There's evidence of this. Because see, a lot of our so-called Kemetic brothers and, and all this, worshiping after all these gods, we're going to get to that in a minute, worshiping after all these other gods, they don't think that these things happen because They went and researched African history and African studies, but they didn't do any research on Israelite studies. So therefore, because I haven't done any research, that couldn't be true then. This is how they think. But go ahead and read.
Yeah. This is Atlas of the Bible, page 143. It says, many felt that Zedekiah disdained to be Judah's last king.
Now we're dealing with Zedekiah now, because he was a king that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. And this is the king that was reigning when the Lord destroyed Jerusalem. Go ahead and read.
Yes, sir. It says, many felt that Zedekiah disdained to be Judah's last king, did not hold clear title to the throne.
See, he was a puppet king. Go ahead.
Indeed, archaeological discoveries reveal that agents of the king still refer to themselves as stewards of Jehoiakim.
See, so now they found archaeological evidence that the people were still with Jehoiakim. And Zedekiah, they wasn't really paying no attention to him. Go ahead and read. Just like, you got people now that still love Obama. And they ain't studying about, well, let me be quiet. Go ahead, brother.
Anti-Babylonian feelings ran high, and the well-intentioned but weak Zedekiah was simply carried along by the popular tide. In 589, supported by Egyptian promises, Zedekiah openly rebelled against the king of Babylon.
See now, so he openly rebelled against Nebuchadnezzar. Go ahead and read.
Early the next year, the Babylonians was once again before the walls of Jerusalem.
Now here they come again, because Sennacherib came first. Now here come Nebuchadnezzar now against Jerusalem. And then, by the way, you can go and look at that in history when Sennacherib came up against Israel during the reigns of Hezekiah. But go ahead and read.
Yes, sir. It says, in a repeat of the campaign of Sennacherib, Nebuchadnezzar seized off Jerusalem with siege works and set about systematically to devastate the entire country.
So now, Nebuchadnezzar now he has seized Jerusalem, and now he's getting ready to devastate the country, just like we just read in the Bible. Go ahead and read.
Judah was set ablaze.
Judah was what?
Set ablaze.
Set ablaze, just like the Bible says. Go ahead.
Says excavations at this site.
Now wait a minute now, because this is what I want you to really see. Excavations at this site. Give me that next slide. Excavations at this site. Go ahead and read.
Yes, sir. It says excavations at these sites, and it says vividly illustrates how thorough was the destruction.
Now, he said when they excavated, they understood how thorough the destruction was. Now, this is the excavation of the part of Jerusalem that the Babylonians came in. Archaeologists uncover Babylonian destruction of Jerusalem just how the Bible describes it. See, God said something, He's going to do it. You understand? He's going to perform it. He's not a man that He should lie. Because who's going to stop Him? So when He told Israel, look, I want y'all to keep my laws, my commands, my statutes so I don't destroy y'all. And they mocked the prophets and everything and wasn't trying to hear none of that, right? So what did the Lord do then? He told them, I'm going to tear down that house and I'm going to destroy this city. And that's exactly what happened. Not only can you read about this in the Bible, but you can read about this in history, and then you can see the archaeological find of this. So this God, this the same God that we're dealing with today. He was Jehovah then, but He's Jesus now. And by the way, it's the Father and the Son. Now, Let's go now. Let's go to Isaiah, the 55th chapter. Isaiah 55. See, you don't want to play around with this God right here because, you know, he tells you he's going to do something, he's going to do it. And so the best thing for you to do is do what he tells you to do or just start ducking. That's the best thing for you to do. Don't mean you're going to survive because you duck, but, you know, maybe you might have a chance. I don't know. But Isaiah 55 and 9. Isaiah 55 and verse 9. Everybody got it? Amen. Go ahead and read.
Isaiah chapter 55, verse 9.
Uh-huh.
For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts.
See, we got my brothers and stuff. Well, why would you serve a God that allow his people to go in slavery? If we his people, why do he allow us to go in slavery? I said, first of all, his thoughts are not ours. That's first of all. Second of all is, what happened to your gods? Our God told us what was going to happen to us if we didn't keep his commandments, right? Told us we was going to be shipped off into slavery. Then said what was going to happen to us when we got to these nations. What happened to your God? Why didn't he do anything? I tell a brother, that comedic brother, that he just started laughing. Yeah, I know it's funny. Our God told us what was going to happen. Your God ain't said nothing. Ain't heard high nor half from him, nothing. He didn't even say nothing. Let alone do nothing. And now we're supposed to trust in your gods? That's why we're in trouble now, Israel, because we trusted in other people's God. Every time Israel got in trouble, where they want to run to? Egypt. And the Lord said, okay, you run on down to Egypt. I'm going to slap the Egyptians, and then I'm going to slap you too. To show you that I am God. Go ahead and read.
Verse 10.
Uh-huh.
For as the rain cometh down and the snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, but water of the earth, and maketh it bring forth and bud, that it may give seed to the sower, and bread to the eater.
Go ahead.
So shall my word be that go forth out of my mouth.
So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. What about it?
It shall not return unto me void.
It shall not return unto me void.
But it shall accomplish that which I please. And it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it.
He says, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please. And it shall prosper in the thing where I sent it. So whatever the Lord said, that's what he's going to do. And so you need to start looking for evidence of this. To see if God has said or has something prophesied and he's still keeping his word. And I'm going to show you today that he is still keeping his word. Let's go now. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28 chapter. Y'all always going to Deuteronomy 28. Yeah. But you need to go there and start reading it, and maybe you get some fat on your head, some understanding. Amen. Deuteronomy 28 and 1. Deuteronomy 28 and 1. See, that's wrong. That's what's wrong. And then I don't care who you are, how rich you are, those curses still following you. It don't matter who you are. I'm talking about when it comes to Israel. It doesn't matter how poor you are, if you're middle class, or if you're rich. These curses still following you. They are still following you. Go ask Byron Allen. I'm going to leave that alone. We had Deuteronomy 28 and 1. Go ask Tyler Perry. Yeah, he got a nice big studio, lots and everything, but he can only go so far with that. 28 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
See, this is where God wanted to set us above all the nations of the earth. And I can't, right now, I couldn't even imagine that. So let me just keep reading, because ain't no need to get stuck on this. Because it ain't happening. Go ahead and read.
Verse 2.
Uh-huh.
And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee.
Uh-huh.
If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Uh-huh.
Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field.
Uh-huh.
Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground,
Uh-huh.
and the fruit of thy cattle, and the increase of thy kind.
Go ahead.
And the flocks of thy sheep.
So everything that God was going to do for this people, he was going to bless them. In every way. Skip down to verse 15. Skip to verse 15. Go ahead.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Now, if you don't keep my commandments, if you keep my commandments, I'm going to bless you. If you don't, I'm going to curse you. And see, this is what our people don't want to accept. They don't even want to hear it. Nothing about no curse. We're not cursed. Well, how is it that we've been here for 400 years and we're still on the bottom? People coming from other nations, been here maybe 100 years, they over us. Go to your job and see who over you now. It ain't one of us. And see, and so you got people like, and I'm gonna call a couple of names today. I'm sorry. You got brothers like D.L. Hughley and Dr. Umar that wants to be some black activist, but they won't read this to find out you have diagnosed our problems. You have diagnosed them and everything, and see what the government is doing and how unfair everybody is towards us and everything, but you won't read this to find out why and what we need to do and what is our antidote to our problems. You don't want to read this? Skip to verse 25, brother. Go ahead.
25. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. And thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them. And shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth.
Now listen now. He said you're going to be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. What people have been removed into all the kingdoms of the earth? Nobody. Come on. How many times we got to do these lessons? Skip to verse 36. Skip to verse 36. Go ahead.
36.
The
Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, into a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known. And there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone.
And when we came over here, our people didn't know nothing about these people over here, the Gentiles, the Indians. We didn't know nothing about none of them that were here already. Then he said, you're going to serve other gods, wood and stones. Look how many religions we are in. We're going to get to that in a minute. He said, you're going to serve other gods, wood and stone. Skip down to verse 64. Skip to verse 64. Go ahead and read it.
64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other.
Go ahead.
And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
He told you this twice. Because he let you know that this is going to happen to you, Israel. This is what's going to happen to you. Skip to verse 68. Skip to verse 68, because he said you're going to be scattered among all people, right? Let's see how he scattered them. Verse 68. Go ahead and read it.
68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
With what?
Ships.
Ships. I mean, ding, 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 ding. A bell should have went off in your head. But we're the only ones that's been scattered among the nations on ships. Egypt means house, of bondage. That's what Egypt means. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Go ahead and read.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
Go ahead.
And there.
Now, he said, you're not going to see this land no more again. And have we seen our land? Like, you know, you might have some people go over there and visit. You have a few Israelites go over there and live over there for a minute. They catching hell now, but they still living over there in the desert. Right? We are the world. We are the went over to Ethiopia and got some of them out of there. They catching it now. Then you had some brothers from here to go over there. They living in the desert. It took them 30 years to get citizenship. 30 years to get citizenship there. But they was catching it. In our own land. But strangers going to inhabit that land, though. Read that verse 68 one more time, brother.
Here we go.
Uh-huh.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships,
Uh-huh.
by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again.
Uh-huh.
And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies, for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
And the Lord keeps showing us this. He keeps showing our people this. You know, I was just saying that a couple of weeks ago, me and my wife, man, how many slave movies they gonna show? And they still showing them, right? Still making money off of them. You know why? I think the Lord is trying to show our people. We had Roots. Recently, the Book of Negroes. Well, they had people had slaves up there selling them. And this is still being shown to us practically every 5 years. 10 years it's being shown to us, and our people still not paying attention. He's showing us what the Bible has already said, prophesied. He's showing it to us. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. When we came here on the ships, our people were sold on the auction blocks. Just like the Bible says. That one that called himself a Jew, he is the one who had the auction blocks. Let's go to Deuteronomy 32. Deuteronomy 32. I mean, how long is it going to take for our people to open up our eyes? I'm talking about the masses of it. The Lord has opened some of the eyes of our people, but I'm talking about the masses of us. You know, it's like, you know, that old saying. If you want to hide something from somebody, put it in a book. Not just Israel, because, you know, but if you want to hide something from somebody, put it in a book. And Israel refused to read the book about his past, his present, and his future. He refused to read it. Therefore, the Lord just bang, knock you upside, keep on knock you upside the head. Because our people will not listen and will not read. Deuteronomy 32 and 26. Go ahead and read it.
Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 26.
Uh-huh.
I said, I would scatter them into corners.
Uh-huh.
I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among
Now
men.
look, how many people call us Israel except us? You just recently here, maybe a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago, got Edomites now saying that we are the Israelites. We are the original Israelites. That was just about 3 years ago. We've been out of the country for 2,000 years. And been in this country for 400 years. And just 2-3 years ago, they finally started to realize, hey, these people right now, our own people not realizing it, but you got the ones that's calling themselves Jews, they are starting to realize it. You got Gentiles that realize that we are the children of Israel. Had Gentiles down in Evansville, the house of Jacob. We had whole house of Gentiles there in Evansville, Indiana. They had gotten together some flyers to go pass it out to the children of Israel, and the children of Israel would not even take the flyers. Wow. Hey, look, man, take this flyer. You're an Israelite. I ain't no Israelite. I ain't no Jew. You got people of other nations telling you that you are the Israelite, and you refuse to hear it. And we reading it to you, and you're still refusing it. He said, I will scatter them into corners. I will make the name of Israel to cease from among men. And now, nobody really knows you as the Israelites. They know you as Negro, African American, black. You understand? You call out one of them names, they know who you're talking about. But you say Israel? Oh no, you crazy. That's what you are. You can be a Negro. You can be an African American. You can be black. You can be all these different names that you get every 10 years. We change our name. You can be that, but call yourself an Israelite and then show it to somebody in the book? You crazy. You are insane. Back up to verse 21. Back up to verse 21. Go ahead and read it.
Verse 21.
Uh-huh.
They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God.
Uh-huh.
They have provoked me to anger with their vanities, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people.
He said, I'm going to move them to jealousy with those that are not a people. And I tell you, boy, sometimes I look at how people come over here and establish not only businesses, but communities. Right? I'm talking about when they establish their communities, the business owners look like them. But in our communities, the business owners look like somebody else. And I get a little jealous. Why can't we have businesses in our own communities? Why is it that we spend all the money that comes into our community goes out to somebody else and making them rich? Why is this? I know why. Because it's written right here in the Bible. But I still get a little jealous. I ain't gonna lie, I still get a little jealous. I wish our people would come together and do this like other communities do, of other races.
Amen.
Finish that verse 21. Read it again.
21.
Uh-huh.
They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God.
Uh-huh.
They have provoked me to anger with their vanity.
Now this is what Israel is doing. They're still doing this. Following after other gods. And so the Lord is jealous about this. Go ahead and read.
They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God.
Uh-huh.
They have provoked me to anger with their vanities.
Go ahead.
And I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people.
Uh-huh.
I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation.
Ooh. I'm going to provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. All these nations that the Lord has brought us, the Lord called them foolish. But look, our people foolish too. Because we won't even read the book. Our book, we won't even read it. And then let other people tell us what the book says of other nationalities. Let them tell us, it's our book, God. We the one who wrote the book. And we let other people come and tell us what the book says. Now, if that ain't foolish, then I don't know what it is. You're going to let somebody come to your house and set up and watch your TV and eat your food. And that's what these people have done. Let's go now. Let's go to Romans, the 11th chapter. Romans 11th chapter. Romans 11. And I understand why our people don't understand or don't hear this, because they're blind. And they're only blind because they won't pick up the book and start reading. That's why you got brothers like, and don't get me wrong, I'm not against no brother. Don't get me wrong. You understand? Because those still my brothers. But you got brothers standing up, talking about diagnosing our problem. They tell you all the entities that come against us, whether it's the government or whoever it is that come against us, and why what condition that we are in, but they won't tell you why we're in these conditions. They won't tell you why these entities have come against us. They won't tell you none of this. And you know why they won't tell you none of this? Because they're blind. They won't read the book. Romans 11 and 7. Romans 11 and 7. Go ahead and read it.
Romans chapter 11, verse 7. What then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election have obtained it, and the rest were blinded.
Now he said Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the elect have obtained it. Who are the elect? Those are the ones that understand the word of God, not just understand it, but are keeping it. The ones that understand the word of God and are keeping it, those are the elect. But he said the rest were blinded. And that's what's going on with our people. They are blind. They blind, not only are they blind, but they deaf too. We're going to read that too. They are blind and deaf. Go ahead and read.
Yes, sir. It says, the rest were blinded according as it is written. God have given them the spirit of slumber.
They have given them the spirit of slumber. You know how slumber, you should start nodding and you almost sleep. That's how our people are. We like nodding and, almost sleep. The spirit of slumber. Go ahead and read.
Eyes that they should not see. And ears that they should not hear.
Eyes that they should not see and ears that they should not hear. You know why?
Until this day.
Until what day?
This day.
And even until this day. You know why? Because they refuse to read the book. They refuse it. They don't even want to hear it. Oh, Dr. Umar. Oh, the Bible is good. Nothing wrong with the Bible, but he's not reading it. Oh, the Quran is good. He don't even read that. You got all these black activists now standing up saying this and diagnosing the problem and everything, but they never give you the antidote. And this is our antidote right here. This is our antidote. It is the Word of God. It's the antidote right here. And I wish more of our people would pick up the antidote and take it. Go ahead and read. What verse you at?
9. And David saith, let their table be made a snare, and a trap, and a stumbling block, and recompense unto them.
If you don't want to hear this, I'm going to make this a snare, and a trap, and a stumbling block for you. And that's what it has. This one has been to our people. There's been a snare, a trap, and a stumbling block. Because you got the Roman Christians. You understand? And that's what it's been for our people.
Make it plain.
You understand? That's been a big stumbling block and a snare, and a trap for our people. Giving them all our money and ain't getting nothing back. Amen. Ain't getting nothing back. Been telling us a bunch of hearsays and a bunch of traditions of men. And we're not getting anything back. That stuff that they're giving us is not going to get you eternal life. Go ahead and read. Skip to verse, you read that verse 10?
No, sir.
Go ahead and read.
It says, let their eyes be darkened, that they may not see.
Go ahead.
And bow down their back always.
And they bow down their back always. Always, yes, boss. You understand? Some of them, yes, master. Still. You know why? Because your back is still bent, just like the Lord said it was going to be. I don't care how much money you got, how rich you how much power you think you got. Because I see a powerful man right now, a billionaire, sitting in jail. A brother. You understand? I don't care how much money you got. Everybody know what I'm talking about. I'm calling names today. Bill Cosby. You don't care how much he's a billionaire, but where is he sitting now? One of the brothers that told and said something about him doing something 20, 30 years ago. And what they do? Oh, you want to make a joke out of it? No, we're going to make a joke out of it. But we're going to have the last laugh, though, because he's the one that's going to be sitting in jail. A billionaire. I don't care how much the curse is there. You're going to be robbed and spoiled, snared at home, and hid in prison houses. Don't care how much money you got. Let's go now. Let's go to, skip to verse 25. Skip to verse 25. They said the rest were blinded. Verse 25. Go ahead and read.
25. For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, lest ye, should be wise in your own conceit.
Go ahead.
That blindness in part has happened to Israel. Until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in.
Now you see that? You see what's going to happen to Israel? They're going to be blind until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. But all of Israel don't have to be blind. All of us don't have to be blind. Why don't you sit down and listen to what thus said the Lord? You done tried, well, I'm going to show you something in a minute. Let's go now. Let's go to Isaiah the 43rd chapter. Because he said all these curses are going to come upon you if you don't keep my commandments, right? Let's go to Isaiah the 43rd chapter, Isaiah 43. Isaiah 43, and we're going to pick it up at verse, pick up at verse 26. Isaiah 43 and 26. Everybody got it?
Amen.
Y'all hanging there with me today.
Amen.
Go ahead and read.
Isaiah chapter 43, verse 26. Put me in remembrance. Let us plead together. Declare thou that thou mayest be justified.
Go ahead.
Thy first father have sinned, and thy teachers have transgressed against me.
He said, put me in remembrance, and that's what we're doing today. We're putting him in remembrance. We remember our God. Thy first fathers have sinned, and thy teachers have transgressed against me. Go ahead and read.
28. Therefore I have profaned the princes of the sanctuary, and have given Jacob to the curse.
And have given Jacob to what?
The curse.
The curse,
And Israel to reproaches.
And Israel to reproaches. I have given Jacob to the curse and Israel to reproaches. So we know now what has happened to this people. They have been cursed.
Yes, sir.
You go to Daniel 9th chapter, pick up in verse 11. He said, all Israel have sinned against me. Therefore the curse is poured upon us. And the oath which is written in the law of Moses. So this people have been cursed. I know that Israelites don't like to hear that. I know that black people, African Americans, whatever you want to call us, don't like to hear that. You don't like to hear that. Oh, we cursed. Oh, no, we're not cursed, brother. What God would let us, all these things happen to us. Pick up the Bible and see what God. Pick up the Bible and see what God. Let's go now. Let's just look at the color of Israel for a second here. Let's go to Job, the 30th chapter, verse 30. Because Job was an Israelite. He was an Israelite. Job 30 and 30. When you get it, brother, go ahead and read it.
Yay. Job chapter 30, verse 30. My skin is black upon me. And my bones are burned with heat.
Ooh. You see what Job said? I had some guy tell me one time, hey, couldn't he be black or dark like that because it's in the sun? I was like, boy, you go into some of the hottest places in the world. Go to Africa. That's one of the hottest places in the world. And you see, you still got Gentile people there. And people of other races. You understand? Black people just gonna get darker. A Gentile might get a little darker, but he's not going to turn black. And you know, I had a guy sitting with me one time. I went to Hollywood on a tour, and he was sitting right next to me. An Indian guy. He was dark, but he wasn't black. He said, yeah, well, I'm from South Africa. I was like, oh, okay. We started, he told me all the carpet business and all that stuff. I was looking at him, you know, Indian guy still got his slick head, had it turned like ours, woolly, or none of that. He looked light-skinned, he still wasn't black, though. And he's from South Africa. So now he said, my skin is black upon me, and my bones are burned with heat. Now that's pretty dark there. Job was a pretty dark man. Let's go now. Let's look at this again. Let's go to Jeremiah, the 14th chapter. Jeremiah 14. Jeremiah 14. And see, you know, brothers, like those brothers that I mentioned earlier, don't read scriptures like this to go and find out that the children of Israel, you're going to study African studies, that's all right, that's fine. But you need to do some studies on the Israelite culture. And you'll see, look at the pictures that's on some of the palaces of black Israelites. You understand? Hair braided and everything, locks in their hair. We're going to show you some. Locks in their hair and everything. Black features. But our people still refuse. And then when I show them archaeology, oh man, that prove it. I said, man, well, you telling me about your Egypt and all that stuff. Like, you been to Egypt? Well, no, I ain't been to Egypt. I said, well, then why do I have to go to Egypt and take pictures and prove something to you then? Or go to Israel, rather, and prove something to you. I ain't going over there. Shoot, I might not come back. Yeah, we saw you on the internet. We Edomites, huh? Okay. Let's go now. Jeremiah 14 and 2. Jeremiah 14 and 2. Go ahead and read it.
Jeremiah chapter 14, verse 2.
Judah
mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black unto the ground.
They are what?
Black unto the ground.
They are black unto the ground. That's pretty dark, ain't it? You call somebody like this, boy, they be ready to fight. You know, we should say blue black. They ready to fight, boy. Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black unto the ground.
And the cry of Jerusalem is gone up.
You see how dark they were? They were black unto the ground, which means they were blue black. Let's go now. Let's go now. I'm going to show you something right here. Get that slide ready. Not just yet, just get it ready. Ezekiel 44. Ezekiel 44. Ezekiel 44. And we're going to pick it up at verse 15. Ezekiel, we're going to get to America. Just hold on for a minute. Got to lay some groundwork. You understand? Got to lay some groundwork first. Ezekiel 44. Ezekiel 44. And we're going to pick it up at verse 15. Ezekiel 44 and 15. Go ahead and read it.
Ezekiel chapter 44, verse 15. But the priests, the Levites, the son of Zadok, that kept the charge of my sanctuary, when the children of Israel went astray from me, they shall come near to me to minister unto me, and they shall stand before me to offer unto me the fat and the blood, saith the Lord God.
Go ahead.
They shall enter into my sanctuary.
Now this is talking future, but I want to show you something here. So he said, they shall enter into my sanctuary.
And they shall come near to my table to minister unto me. And they shall keep my charge. And it shall come to pass that when they enter in at the gates of the inner court, they shall be clothed with linen garments. And no wool shall come upon them, whilst they minister unto the gates, of the inner court and within. They shall have linen bonnets upon their heads, and shall have linen breeches upon their loins. They shall not gird themselves with anything that causes sweat.
Go ahead. Now, you know, because the Lord had his priest decked out. So you come up in here, I don't even want you sweating, so you got to put on some linen garments. Go ahead and read.
And when they go forth into the utter court, even into the utter court to the people, they shall put off their garments wherein they ministered, and lay them in the holy chambers, and they shall put on other garments, and they shall not sanctify the people with their garments.
Now look at what he's saying right here. Verse 20. Go ahead and read it.
Neither shall they shave their heads.
Neither shall they shave their heads. So you want your hair to grow. But look at what he's calling this hair that's growing. Start that over again.
Neither shall they shave their heads, nor suffer their locks to grow long.
Nor suffer their locks to grow long. Now, ding, 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 ding. Another bell should have went off in your head. He said, neither shall they suffer their locks to grow long.
They shall only poll their heads.
They shall only poll their heads. Now let's see that next slide. These are ancient Israelites, one from Assyria, and these Israelites were in captivity in Babylon. Look at these locks in their heads. Does everybody see that? These Israelites right here were in the Syrian captivity, and these Israelites over here were in the Babylonian captivity. And you can see these locks in there, and look at their features right here. These are black men. Right? Because Gentiles don't walk around with locks in their hair like this. Does anybody see that? Now, let's go now. Let's go to Deuteronomy, Isaiah the 5th chapter. Isaiah the 5th chapter. Y'all saw those locks in their hair, right? You see people now walking around with locks in their hair. These are the children of Israel. This is how they looked. They were black people. Not no African, but Semitic people, Hebrew people. Because all black people and melanated people are not African. I just want to clear that up real quick. All melanated people are not African. You got some people over in India darker than me. They are not African. Because you know our people, they want to make everybody African. That's dark-skinned like us. They want to make them African. And we're the only ones that do that. You know, just think about me. Anyway, let me get to it. Let's go to Isaiah the 5th chapter. We're going to pick it up at verse 11. Isaiah 5 and 11. Our people are really up. Isaiah 5 and 11. Isaiah 5 and 11. Go ahead and read.
Isaiah chapter 5, verse 11.
Uh-huh.
Woe to them that rise up early in the morning.
Now he's talking about the children of Israel now. He said, woe to them that rise up early in the morning. Go ahead.
That they may follow strong drink.
Now who is that? Early in the morning, they are waiting at the liquor store. Right? Ready to patronize that business which belongs to another race of people. They rise up early in the morning and that they may follow strong drink.
That continue until night. Till wine and flame.
You know, they just drink it all day. You understand? From morning to evening, they drink it. Go ahead and read. Because the Lord knows his people. Go ahead and read.
Verse 12.
In
the harp and the viol, the tabret and pipe and wine are in their feast, but they regard not the work of the Lord, neither consider the operation of his hands.
And it's not just the people that's drinking and stuff, but most of our black people don't regard the work of the Lord's hands. They don't even think about what the Bible is saying and consider it. They won't even consider it. Most of our black people don't even want to hear this. And our history, past, present, and future is right here in the book. Right here in the book. Go ahead and read.
13. Therefore my people are gone into captivity because they have no knowledge.
They've gone into captivity because they have no knowledge.
And their honorable men are famished.
Their honorable men are famished.
And their multitude dried up with
Look at all the men that have come since our people. I'm talking about black men that have come from Frederick Douglass, W.E.B. Du Bois. What's the Tuskegee guy name? I forget his name. His name skipped my memory right now. But we from the Tuskegee guy. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? And then you got Martin Luther King. You had Malcolm X. we got all of these brothers that came and tried to help our people. Don't get me wrong, they tried to help our people. But they were famished when it comes to this. They were famished. And so all of their works and their efforts that didn't help us. See, like our people are worse now than we were then. At least back then, our people stuck together. But now, it's every man for himself. Nobody's trying to help the next man. Everybody is trying to help themselves. So the honorable men are famished,
And their multitude dried up with thirst.
And the multitude is dried up with thirst. Most of our people don't know anything about this. Let's go now. Let's go to, we're going to look at something right here. Let's see. We're looking at the map. Okay, yes. Now, he said that my people are going into captivity because they have no knowledge, right? So we're just going to get straight to the captivity here in America, right? Because the Lord did say you're going to be scattered with ships, right? How did our people get here? On ships. He said between 1650 and 1860, approximately 10 to 15 million enslaved people were transported from Western Africa to the Americas. Can somebody turn their phone off? Okay, let me start that again. Between 1650 and 1860, approximately 10 to 15 million enslaved people were transported from Western Africa to the Americas. Most were shipped to the West Indies, Central America, and South America. But we're going to deal right here with North America. I see everybody's quiet now. Because you know, this thing is just, the Lord said it, and he done it. I mean, we're not going to even talk about the 24 million that went to Europe. No, and we're not going to even talk about how many millions are still on the African continent and in Asia. So let's just concentrate right now, though, on North America. So now, 5 million went to North America right here. 5 million. Keep that figure in mind. 5 million in North America. Now we're going to pull up that next slide. This is the U.S. population right today. The total population is 327,167,439 people. That's here in the United States. 60% of this country are white, or what we call Gentiles. 60% of this country is white. Did you know that? 13% of this country is black. No, we're the majority in jail, but the minority out here, we're one of the smallest minorities. 13%. The Hispanic race is 18%. 18.3%. The Hispanic, they have outgrown us. I remember about 15 years ago when Oprah Winfrey had a show and she was dealing with this subject about the population of the United States. And she kept saying that the Hispanic race is going to outpopulate the black race in so many years. And here it is now. The Hispanic race is 18.3% of the population. We're only 13% of the population. I wonder why it is that our people, 73% of the HIV cases are black people. 73% of them are black people. I could have read you about that. In Deuteronomy 28, the Lord said, I'm going to put these diseases on you that's not mentioned in the book. But I'm going to say that for black history, and maybe I do black history. Can't make my mind up whether I want to do it just yet or not. But this thing is going down just like God said it was going, just like he had the prophets to prophesy that it was going to happen. Who is paying attention to this now? Who is paying attention to this? Let's go to Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter. Deuteronomy, 4th chapter. So now, I said that we're 13% of the population, so that would equal up to around, let me see, 40 plus million Israelite Americans. So we are a little over 40 million people in this country. Now keep these figures in mind. You know, we came in, there was only 5 million of us. In 400 years, we grew to 40, just over 40 million people. Sort of like when the children of Israel, when they came out of Egypt, they started off with 70 souls. Then when they left, it was 600,000 footmen, not to mention the children. So let's just give them a cool, because you know Israel like to have a lot of children. So let's just give them a cool million when they came up out of Egypt. And now, look at us, we went from 5 million to over 40 million people in this country now. Let's go to Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter. Back up to Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter. Because I'm going to just, I named this Israelite Americans. I'm going to show you why I named this Israelite Americans. Because we are first Israelites before we are Americans. We're Americans. We don't have nothing against America. This is the greatest country on earth, to me. And then I know what's going on here. I don't know what's going on overseas somewhere. So now we at Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter. Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter. We're going to pick it up at verse 26. Deuteronomy 4 and 26. Go ahead and read.
Deuteronomy chapter 4. Verse 26. I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day. That ye shall soon utterly perish from off the land whereunto
Go ahead.
ye go over Jordan to possess it. Ye shall not prolong your days upon it, but shall utterly be destroyed.
Now this is what he's telling the children of Israel at this time. And it's reminiscent to what's going on now. Go ahead and read.
27. And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left few in number.
Stop right there. Stop right there. You see that? He said, look, and the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and you shall be left few in number. We are few in number. We're only 13% of the population here in the United States. Even the Hispanic people, which are still coming over here, have outnumbered us. He said, you're going to be, when you get scattered to these nations, you're going to be few in number, and that's what we are now. Few in number. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and you shall be left few in number among the heathen.
Heathen means nations.
Whether the Lord shall lead you. And there ye shall serve gods, the work of men's hands, wood and stone.
Go ahead.
Which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell.
Go ahead.
But
we serving these gods. Won't even serve our own God. They gods neither hear, see, smell, none of these things. Haven't done anything for our people. Nothing. And our people are still serving them now. Egyptians probably don't even still serve their same God. Because they got kicked out of their land. Man, skip these gods. They got kicked out of their own land. The Arabs are over that country now. Came in the 6th century and took over Egypt. And that's written in the Bible. Lord said, look, Egypt, I'm going to send in a cruel Lord over you. And when he come in, he going to divert the water. Go see what happened to those Egyptians, the Egyptian country, how the Arabs came in and put up dams and stopped the water flow. Just like the Bible said. I could have put that in here too. What verse you at?
29. But if from thence thou shalt seek the Lord thy God, thou shalt find
See,
him.
even now, if we seek the Lord our God, we shall find him. And we have sought the Lord our God, and we have found him. And the rest of our people need to seek the Lord our God so that they can find him. But that's the problem with Israel. They don't want to seek this God. They want to seek everybody else's God instead of the true and living God. Go ahead and read.
If thou seek him with all thy heart and with all thy soul, when thou art in tribulation,
go ahead,
and all these things are come upon thee, even in the latter days.
Even in the what?
Latter days.
Even in the latter days, what?
If thou turn to the Lord thy God, and shalt be obedient unto his voice.
Go ahead.
For the Lord thy God is a merciful God.
Well, he will even show some mercy now. He said, look, even in the latter days, if you be obedient unto his voice. And we're living in the latter days now, right? That's all our people have to do is turn back to our God.
Teach.
That's all we have to do. For the Lord thy God is a merciful God. Go ahead and read.
He will not forsake thee.
He will not forsake thee.
Neither destroy thee.
Go ahead.
Nor forget the covenant of thy fathers, which he sware unto them.
See, he's not going to forget the covenant. God is not going to break his covenant. Men break his covenant. And more in particular, Israelites break his covenant. But God, he don't break his covenant. He said, for the Lord thy God is a merciful God. He will not forsake thee, neither destroy thee, nor forget the covenant of thy fathers, which he sware unto them. So if we were to turn, if our people were to turn back to our God, he would have mercy on us. He would have mercy on us. But our people don't want to turn back to him. Now we're going to look at something right here. So let's go to that next slide. And this is the proof that we don't turn back to him. You got Israelites. He said, painting a religious Israelite American portrait. You got Israelites at the top because that's what we are. We're not no African Americans. We're not no Negroes. We're not black. We are Israelites. And most of us anyway, our skin is brown, not black. You see what I'm saying? See this book right here? See this book? That's black. That's black right there. Our skin is brown. So I don't know where they start calling it, but okay, anyway, by identification, that's fine. So now, then you got Roman Christians. You got some Baptist, Methodist, Pentecostal, Koji, all of these different churches, right? That black people are following now. Instead of, number one, you tried the rest, now try the best. Israel. Then you got Islam. Don't get me wrong, Islam. I don't have nothing against your people and real religion or none of that. I'm saying our people are Israelites and we should be following the God of Israel. The God of the Bible. The God of the scriptures. Then we got some of our people, they think they're Egypt. They call themselves Kemetic. And I'm asking them, okay, where were your gods when we were going into slavery then? Where are your gods at now? Our God told us what was going to happen to us in our past, our present, and in our future. Where are your God? Where are your gods? Kemetic, brother, you couldn't do nothing but just laugh. All of them laughed when I asked them, where your God's at? Because my God said what was going to happen to us. Now, where's your God's at? Why you say nothing? Ain't do nothing. Then you got some of our people still now practicing that voodoo. And then look at this right here. Buddhist. Didn't know we had people, black people, Israelites that are Buddhist. Yes. I was going to play a video, but I'm going to leave them alone. Look at all of these religions that our people are in. And there's more. There's more than this. We're following after everybody. Didn't the Lord say, if y'all follow after other gods, I'm going to punish y'all? You see what he did to Israel when Nebuchadnezzar came in and destroyed them and then burned down the house, destroyed the land, and then carried them off into captivity because they were following after these other gods.
Teach.
And our people still following after these other gods and rebuke. And that's why our heads are getting whooped. That's why our people are not getting fair business practices. That's why they try to rescind the first civil rights bill. We're going to get to that. This is God doing this to our people. Now look, let's go now. We're supposed to go to the next slide right here, right? Let's go to the next slide. This is the buying power statistics by race. Black buying power, $1.2 trillion. That's how much money we spend every year. Israelite Americans spend every year in the U.S. economy. $1.2 trillion. Why don't we, and you know a lot of my money go to hair care. Why don't we own our own hair care products? Why don't we own our own hair care products? Why is it that the Asians have come in and set up shop in our communities? And they have cornered the market when it comes to hair care products in our communities. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? Now, a lot of our money is spent on food, but it ain't in no Israelite American grocery stores. So we don't have no Jewels and Walmarts and all. We don't work there, but we don't own those stores like that. How is it that our people $1.2 trillion in the United States economy every year, but we don't own hardly nothing? Oh, it gets worse. It gets worse. So and I'm going to show you why. I got to show you why. Why this is going on. Right? So now let's go. Because that just kind of makes your heart sink. All this money we spend in the economy, but we don't get fair rights. You ever ask yourself, why your car insurance so high? You never asked yourself that, did you? You go in the Israelite American communities, and the insurance is high, the food is high, everything in your community is high. You ain't got no money, but that what you don't have, we want that. You ever ask yourself these questions? I'm going to get you to thinking today, Israel. I'm going to get you to think today. Let's go now. Let's go to Proverbs, the 5th chapter. Proverbs 5. Proverbs 5, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Proverbs 5 and 1. Everybody got it? Y'all woke now? Is everybody awake now? Lord didn't give y'all them slumbering eyes, did he? Isaiah, and you can't blame it on the heat because it's still just right up in here. Proverbs 5 and 1. Proverbs 5 and 1. Go ahead and read.
Proverbs chapter 5, verse 1. My son, attend unto my wisdom, and bow thine ear to my understanding.
Go ahead and read.
That thou mayest regard discretion, and that thy lips may keep knowledge.
See, this is what God wants us to do. He wants us to attend to his wisdom and to his understanding, so we can have some knowledge. But skip down to verse 10. Skip to verse 10. What does that say?
Verse 10. Lest strangers be filled with thy wealth.
Stop right there. You see that? He said, look, attend to my wisdom and to my understanding so you can get some knowledge. But if not, strangers are going to be filled with your wealth. And that's what strangers have. These trillions of dollars that we showed you, that's not going to the black people and to black businesses. That's going to everybody else in our community and outside our communities. That's going to their businesses. That's making them wealthy. Even when you look at the penal system, the powers that be in the penal system, they get rich. They get money off of our of our people. We're the majority in the prison houses, but the minority out here. And they fill the prison houses up with our people. But that's in the book too. Israel, you're going to be robbed and spoiled, snared in holes, and hid in prison houses. Just like God had it prophesied. Read that verse 10.
Lest strangers be filled with thy wealth, and thy labors be in the house of a stranger.
And the labors be in the house of a stranger. Who helped build this country? We did. But then, did we reap the proceeds from that? Who reaped the proceeds? The Gentile, the Arab, and the Edomite reaped the proceeds from it. And all those other nations that we went into to work their lands and build their houses and nurse their children. I tell you, man, the Lord did a number on us. He said he was going to do it, and he has done it. He has done it. And our people still refuse. He still got his hand stretched out, and our people still refuse him. Let's go to Isaiah 42. Isaiah 42. Isaiah 42, and we're going to pick it up at verse 19. I know it's hard to swallow, brother. But nevertheless, God said it thus, and that's the way it is. Isaiah 42, and it's not going to get better for our people until we turn to our God. This ain't got nothing to do with no Gentile. This don't have nothing to do with no Edomites or no Ishmaelites, although they were perpetrators in the slave trade and everything. This got to do with us, the Israelite American, and our God. That's who this got something to do with. Everybody else, y'all might well stand aside. This is between us and our God. And he has proven that. Isaiah 42 and 19. Isaiah 42 and 19. Go ahead and read it.
Isaiah chapter 42, verse 19. Who is blind but my servant? Or deaf as my messenger that I sent?
See, Israel is blind and deaf. Go ahead and read.
Who is blind as he that is perfect? And blind as the Lord's servant?
Go ahead.
Seeing many things, but thou observe not. Opening the ear, but he heareth not.
See, he's seeing everything. He's seeing things. He can diagnose our problems and everything. And, you know, the Bible is okay. And the Quran is okay. And Buddhists, they okay. But when it comes to this, he won't see it. He won't open his ears, neither will he open his eyes. He will not see this. Go ahead and read.
Verse 21. The Lord is well pleased for his righteousness' sake. He will magnify the law and make it honorable.
I ain't going to even mention that about this law, because you might forget it. Gentiles ain't keeping the law. Ishmaelites ain't keeping the law. Edom ain't keeping the law. Hispanics ain't keeping the law. Israel ain't keeping the law. Go ahead and read.
But this is the people robbed and spoiled. They're all of them snared in holes.
Go ahead.
And they are hid in prison houses. They are for prey.
They are for what?
A prey.
A prey. Other nationalities prey on us. They prey on us. They come in our neighborhoods, jack up the prices on us and everything. And you know, since we don't want to go to Walmart, we just go right to the neighborhood store. Look, a lot of our business that we did have been put out of business. But the other nationalities, their business is still going. The Arab here in our neighborhood, the Asian in our neighborhood, their business is still thriving. Why is that? Why is that? Why don't we have our own community set up with our own businesses? Why? He said, but this people is robbed and spoiled. They're all them standing home. They're here in the prison house. They are for a prey.
And none delivereth.
And none gonna deliver. I don't care about what D.L. Hughley is saying. And Dr. Umar, because he ain't going to do nothing. They'll shut him down just like they'll shut D.L. Hughley and anybody else that's going to stand up and try to speak up for his people. Look at how many brothers that have tried to stand up for these people that have got murdered or got thrown in jail. Some of them still in jail, speaking up for his people. But they didn't deliver us. Because we worse now than we were during the time of Martin Luther King and them. We worse now. Go ahead and read.
And none delivereth for spoil, and none saith restore. Who among you will give ear to this? Who would hearken and hear for the time to come?
Who gonna hear this for the time to come? Certainly not our people. They're not hearing this. He said, who among you will give ear to this? Who will hearken and hear for the time to come? Some of us have heard this, right? But the masses of us, they ain't trying to hear this. Now look, you just had those Israelites come up against those young Gentiles and everything. The world watched that for a minute, right? And what did it do? Snuffed it right out. You don't hear nothing else about it. Ain't nobody paying attention to these people call themselves Israelite. I'm talking about Israelite Americans now. These people call themselves Israelites. Let's go investigate. You ain't see no black people doing that. You ain't see Dr. Umar, D.L. Hughley, none of Oprah Winfrey, none of these people searching this out. They won't go search it out. Go ahead and read. What verse you at?
24.
Who
gave Jacob for a spoil? And Israel to the robbers?
Go ahead.
Did not the Lord?
See, the Lord done this to us. Go ahead.
He against whom we have sinned, for they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law.
Isn't that why the children of Israel got in trouble before? Because they wouldn't walk in his ways, they weren't obedient unto his law?
Teach.
That's what's going on now. Israel won't be obedient to his law. And that's why our people are being punished the way we are being punished. It don't have nothing to do with the Gentile or the Ishmaelite or the Edomites or nobody except our people following after our God.
Yes, sir.
That's what this is all about. Let's go now. Let's go to Isaiah the 5th chapter. Back up to Isaiah the 5th chapter. I'm sorry, wait a minute. Let's go to the next slide. Let's go to the next slide. Now. I'm not trying to start nothing. Okay? I'm not trying to start anything. I'm just making you aware. Okay? Just making you aware. So I won't have Brother Caleb to read this. I ain't going to read it. Go ahead and read, brother.
Yeah. This says Civil Rights Act of 1866.
Now this is like the first civil rights bill for Israelite Americans, or someone, if you want to say African Americans, whatever. Okay? This is 1860. Now remember, slavery ended in 1860. It was supposed to end in 1865. Slavery ended as it relates to them taking the chains off of us and making us work for free. That ended. Okay? Now, this bill of 1866, the Civil Rights Bill, let's read it, because we were supposed to get our civil rights after the slaves were free, because they understood that, look, once we free these slaves, man, they're not going to get a fair shake. They're not going to get their rights. They're not going to get fair employment. So we got to do something about this. This is one of the best bills ever passed on the United States soil. This is one of the best bills ever passed right here. But are they living up to it? Let's go ahead and read, brother.
Okay. Civil Rights Act of 1866. Civil Rights Act of 1866 says, Chapter 31, in Roman numeral, an act to protect all persons in the United States in their civil rights.
Now, this is section 1. So when you get ready, go and read this. This will be section 1, the first paragraph. And I take that you guys will go and read this, right? Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. It says, chapter 31, an act to protect all persons in the United States in their civil rights and furnish the means of their vindication.
So now this is supposed to protect our civil rights. And so now other people were included in these civil rights too, not just the slaves or the former slaves. Other people were included in this too, but it was mainly for the slaves. Go ahead and read some more.
It goes on to say, be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America and Congress assembled, that all persons born in the United States and not subject to any foreign power, excluding Indians not taxed, are hereby declared to be citizens of the United States, and such citizens of every race and color, without regard to any previous condition of slavery, of involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted.
Now stop right there, because you know, after slavery, after they let the slaves out, what do? After they let the slaves go, they start arresting black people and putting them back in jail, back into slavery, really. I mean, you had little boys, 11, 9, 10 years old, they done grabbed and put them in prison. They're walking around with a little jumpsuit on, prison suits on. And so this way you walk down the street, Israel, you spit on the street. Hey boy, come here. You just spit on the street? Yeah. Come here, you're arrested. Come here, you're under arrest. This is how we were done. So we went from one slavery to another.
13th Amendment.
You understand? Go ahead and read.
This says, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall have the same right in every state and territory in the United States.
Oh, wait a minute. He said you should have the same right in every state and territory in the United States. Do we have the same rights? Come on. This is the best bill that they passed, but they're not living up to it. Go ahead and read. But we know why they're not living up to it. It's because the Lord said, look, wherever you go, Israel, you're going to get punished. Go ahead and read.
Yes, sir. It says, in every state and territory in the United States, to make and enforce contracts, to sue, be parties, and give evidence, to inherit, purchase, lease, sell, hold, and convey real and personal property.
Stop right there. So now you had you're supposed to get all these rights to inherit, lease, sell, hold, convey real estate, real and personal property. So you're supposed to be able to do all of these things. Same thing that the Gentile was doing, you're supposed to have these same rights. But you don't. Go ahead and read.
Yes, sir. It says, and convey real and personal property, and to full and equal benefit of all laws.
The full equal benefits of all laws, which we know that it was for us, but it's not to us. It has been given to us. Go ahead.
Equal benefits of all laws and proceedings for the security of person and property.
For the security of person and property. Now our people are being killed in the streets. So we don't have no security. Go ahead and read.
More?
Are you finished?
I can keep going.
No. So now, I was just wanting to give you an idea about this bill of 1866, the Civil Rights Bill of 1866, because now you got people that, and I'm not going to mention their names because I don't want to get shut down, but you got people now that's in the Supreme Court arguing against this bill. A major company or major companies arguing against this bill because we are not getting fair business contracts with these companies. We have never gotten fair business contracts with these companies. And still don't get to this day fair. Look, the curses are still upon us. Well, I don't care how much money you got, how rich you are. The curses are still upon you.
Bring it out, brother.
Now, let's go now. Let's go to, just hold on a minute. Just hold on a minute. Let's go to Isaiah the 5th chapter. Isaiah the 5th chapter. And we're going to pick it up in verse 1. Isaiah 5 and 1. When you get it, brother, go ahead and read.
Isaiah chapter 5, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
Now will I sing to my well-beloved a song of my beloved touching his vineyard.
Uh-huh.
My well-beloved have a vineyard in a very fruitful hill, and he fenced it and gathered out the stones thereof, and planted it with the choicest vine, and built a tower in the midst of it, and also made a wine press therein, and he looked that it should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes.
So now he said, look, he looked at this vineyard should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes. Now we're not dealing with literal grapes here. We're talking about people right here, and more particular, Israelites. So he looked that they should bring forth good fruits, and they brought forth wild fruits. In other words, they were sinning against the Lord. He looking for them to do righteous before him after all he had done for them, and they start working wickedness or unrighteousness before him. Go ahead and read.
Verse 3.
And
now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem and men of Judah, judge, I pray you, betwixt me and my vineyard. What could have been done more to my vineyard that I have not done in it? Wherefore, when I looked that it should bring forth grapes, brought it forth wild
he said,
grapes.
look, I have done everything for this people. What more could I have done for them? I gave them the best of everything. Go look at Ezekiel 16 and Deuteronomy 32, and look how good the Lord even fed them, dressed them, put a gold chain around their neck, gave them the best of everything. He said, I'm looking for I'm doing you good. You're my wife, Israel. You understand? I'm going to take care of you. Just like a man takes care of his wife. He said, I'm looking for you to bring forth good grapes, and you brought forth wild grapes. In other words, you sinned against me. Go ahead and read. Look at what he's going to do to him. Go ahead.
And now go to. I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will take away the hedge thereof.
I will take away the hedge thereof. I will take away the protection from them. And what's going to happen?
And it shall be eaten up. And break down the wall thereof. And it shall be trodden down.
He said, I'm going to break it down. And it's going to be trodden down. Go ahead and read.
And I will lay it waste. It shall not be pruned nor digged.
Go ahead.
But there shall come up briars and thorns. I will also command the cloud that they rain no rain upon it. For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel. And the men of Judah his pleasant plant.
Go ahead.
And he looked for judgment, but behold oppression. For righteousness, but behold a cry.
See, because this is what the Lord, we talking about the children of Israel right here. The Lord looking for them to bring forth righteousness, and they brought forth wickedness. And this people the Lord still got his hand stretched out to this people. And they still bringing forth wickedness. Just will not turn back to the Lord. Let's go now. So if he take down his hedges from around you, then that means everybody can come in and take advantage of you. That's why he said this is the people robbed and spoiled, snared and hold, and hid in prison hours. Now let's go to Deuteronomy 28, chapter Deuteronomy 28. We're almost there. Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28, and we're going to pick it up at verse 37. Deuteronomy 28 and 37. When you get it, brother, go ahead and read.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee.
Now, these are all the names, like I said earlier, that everybody's got for us. It's so bad that we even call ourselves the N-word.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, it's like it's ingrained in us that we even call ourselves the N-word. People have been calling us the N-word, spooks, porch monkey, you name it. They have called us all of these things, and then we turn around and tease ourselves by calling us these names. But the Lord said you were going to be a proverb and a byword among all the nations where the Lord thy God shall lead you. And even today, we are still being called these names. Go ahead and read.
And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee.
Skip to verse 43. Skip to verse 43. Go ahead.
The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high.
Uh-huh.
And thou shalt come down very low.
Now look. Did that Hispanic, didn't he outgrow us? Here we are, 13% of the population, been here for 400 years, and he is 18.3% of the population now. Has outgrown us. The stranger that is within you should get up above thee very high. You shall come down very low. They have set up communities in their neighborhoods. They have their own stores and warehouses. Where are ours? They even have set up stores in our communities. You understand what I'm saying? Just like God had it prophesied. What verse you at?
44.
Uh-huh.
He shall lend to thee,
Uh-huh.
and thou shalt not lend to him.
Go ahead.
He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail.
He shall lend to thee, but thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Go ahead.
Moreover,
Uh-huh.
all these curses shall
Stop.
come.
We're going to stop right there. Hold it 1 second. Now, he said, he's going to lend to you, but you're not going to lend to him. Let's look at this next slide. Let's look at the next slide.
The next slide.
Okay. All right. Less than 50 black-owned banks in USA. Less than 50 black-owned banks. It's 40 million plus Israelite Americans, but it's only 50. Well, it's less than 50 banks. I think I count about 35. And then they had a list of the top 15. And do you know that neither one of those banks' assets were $1 billion? This is the highest asset right here. One United Bank asset, $661 million. None of them reached $1 billion. This is the highest one right here. $661 million. That's the assets. The next one is Liberty Bank and Trust Company. Assets $594 million. Citizens Trust Bank assets $411 million. Industrial Bank assets $423 million. And the Harbor Bank of Maryland assets $282 million. This is like the top 5 right here out of 50. Less than 50, I should say. And we 40 million Israelite Americans. That just goes to show you right there that our people don't even bank with our own people. And then when you go bank with all these other companies, they don't even want to treat you fair. Go and try to get a loan from your bank. Because I know it ain't one of these black banks right here. So go and try to get a loan from your bank. And see if you get a loan. You might be able to get a loan for a car. You understand? Yeah. Because we're going to get that into. Go get a loan, try to get a loan for a business. And see how they give you all type of excuses. We spend $1.2 trillion in the economy. But when it comes to fair business practices, we got a civil rights bill passed 153 years ago. Fair business practices. Go to a bank today and try to get you a loan, Mr. Israelite, and see if they will give you a loan for a business. Other people come here from other nations. Look at all the 7-Elevens. Owned by what? Indian people, not us. Everybody getting the idea of what I'm talking about? Look at the businesses in your community. They're not owned by us. They are owned by somebody else. You can come all the way from India, set up a business here in your community, and you can't even get a loan and set up a business in your community. You know why? Because God said you're going to be robbed. You're going to be able to loan to them. I mean, they're going to be able to loan to you, but you're not going to loan to them. You're going to be robbed and spoiled, standing whole, and hid in prison houses. You are for a prey. People going to prey on you. $1.2 trillion going out of our communities. You think any of the big black preachers that's getting all the money say, hey man, let's set up a chain of grocery stores in the black communities? Any one of them did that? They might hand you out a little twos and fews here, a little few food here, give you a little money. Hey man, take this money, go get you a hotel room. Don't come back now. But when it comes to putting monies in our communities, nobody is doing it. And most of these banks right here, they say it's for urban development, but I don't see none of the urbans being developed. Look at how bad the schools are in Chicago. Look at how bad the neighborhoods are in Chicago or in our communities. And then we all fight against one another. Kill, bite, and devour each other. And everybody else sitting back of other nationalities, sitting back and laughing while you kill each other, while we kill each other, and then we pass them our money. Instead of us saying, you know what? Let us get together and serve our God. Right? Let us put our money together and build businesses in our community. But no, our people won't do it because you're going to loan to them. They're going to loan to you, but you're not going to loan to them. You won't turn back to your God. So you know what? I'm going to do you in. Since you won't turn back to me. What verse did you leave off on?
45.
Read verse 45. Go ahead.
Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed. Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee.
Verse 46, what does that say?
And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
For how long?
Forever.
For how long?
Ever.
Forever. And so, when you decide that you want to turn back to your God and us as a people turn back to our God, these curses going to be upon us. And I don't care how much money you got and how much power you think you got. Because remember, Obama was the president. But was he an Israelite? He was not an Israelite. He is an African. His father is from Kenya somewhere. He is an African. Now, let's go to Jeremiah, the 5th chapter, Jeremiah 5. We want everybody to turn your phones off or put them on vibrate. We're going to Jeremiah 5. Jeremiah 5. Ain't that something? 40 plus million people, and there's less than 50 banks. That is really something. I saw that, man. I was like, yeah, the Lord really doing this people in. Let's go to, didn't he take Israel's wealth? That's the first thing he did when the Babylonians came. He took their wealth from them. Dropped that sword on them and took their wealth. Let's go now. Let's go to Jeremiah 5. Jeremiah 5. And we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Jeremiah 5 and 1. Go ahead and read.
Jeremiah chapter 5, verse 1. Run ye to and fro through the streets of Jerusalem.
Now look at this is what he is telling the children of Israel at this time doing Jeremiah. But I'm reading it because it reminds me of now. Go ahead and read.
And see now, and know, and seek in the broad places thereof. If ye can find a man, if there be any that executeth judgment, that seeketh the truth, and I will pardon it.
He said, look, let's see if you can find any man that seeketh judgment and truth, and I will pardon it.
And though they say, the Lord liveth, surely they swear falsely. O Lord, are not thine eyes upon the truth? Thou hast stricken them, but they have not grieved.
They have not grieved. Go ahead.
Thou hast consumed them, but they have refused to receive correction.
Ooh. He said, you have consumed them, Lord, but they refuse to receive correction. Refuse. They refuse to turn back to their God. Go ahead and read.
They have made their faces harder than a rock. They have refused to return.
Go ahead.
Therefore I said, surely these are poor.
He said, surely these are poor.
They are foolish.
They are foolish. Look at our people. We are foolish. I mean, you know, everybody else, they demand their rights. They get their rights. With their buying power, they get their rights. With their buying power. But us, we got all this so-called buying power, but we don't get our rights. And that's because we're not standing up. First of all, we're not worshiping our God, and then we're not standing up demanding it. So therefore, you ain't getting nothing but a slap upside the head. Verse 4 again.
Therefore I said, surely these are poor, they are foolish, for they know not the way of the Lord, nor the judgment of their God.
They know not the way of the Lord, nor the judgment of their God. See, this is our God. This is our God. And so we need to understand his judgments. We need to understand his laws, commandments, and statutes, and do them. Let's go now. Let's go to 2 Samuel. I want to throw this in here right quick. 2 Samuel 10 and 1. Because a lot of our young men got a problem. You understand? They got a problem when it comes to this. This used to be a shameful thing. 2 Samuel 10. 2 Samuel 10, we're going to pick it up in verse 1. 2 Samuel 10 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
This is 2 Samuel chapter 10, verse 1. And it came to pass after this, that the king of the children of Ammon died, and Hanun, his son, reigned in his stead. Then said David, I will show kindness unto Hanun, the son Nahash, as his father showed kindness unto me. And David sent to comfort him by the hand of his servants for his father.
So David sent men to comfort his man. The king of Ammon had died, and so now his son sat in his stead and started reigning. So David said, you know what? His father Hanun showed me kindness. Now I'm going to show him some kindness. So he went and sent his man to send a message. Go ahead.
And David's servants came into the land of the children of Ammon. And the princes of the children of Ammon said unto Hanun, their lord, thinkest thou that David doth honor thy father, that he hath sent comforters unto thee?
He said, look, you think David is honoring your father? He sent comforters unto you? Go ahead and read.
Have not David rather sent his servants unto thee to search the city and to spy it out?
Go ahead.
And to overthrow it?
So he said, have not David come to search out the city and spy it out and overthrow it? He could have just came and done that. He had to send nobody in there to comfort him. But he got his princes telling them, hey man, David's come, his people coming here, his servants coming here to spy the city and to overthrow it. Go ahead, well, what did Hanan do now?
Verse 4. Wherefore Hanan took David's servants and shaved off the one half of their beards.
Stop right there. You see what he did? So now instead of them showing him homage or showing their sympathy that David sent them to do, the people told him, saying, look, they come to spy. David's servants come to spy out the land and take it over. So what did Hanan do? Hanan took and shaved off half of those servants of David's beards. Go ahead and read.
Half of their beards and cut off their garments in the middle.
Then he cut off their garments in the middle,
even to their buttocks, and sent them away.
Even to their buttocks, and then he sent them away. Now these men went back to David. Go ahead and read.
When they told it to David, he sent to meet them.
Go ahead.
Because the men were greatly ashamed, and the king said, tarry at Jericho until your beards be grown.
Now he said, look, the
and
men, they were greatly ashamed. They had their clothes cut off to their buttocks. Right? And half of their beards cut off. So they were greatly ashamed. So David told them, look, tarry at Jericho until your beards be grown, and then return. So this was a shameful thing in Israel. For them to cut off your half of your beard and your clothes down to your buttocks. Show that next slide. Now, it is greatly, they love it now. You understand? It was a shameful thing, but now look at it. They embrace it. These are our kids. And now, not only are our kids doing this, I shocked y'all with that, didn't I? I saw it just a couple of days. Now, remember that day we had a cold snap? I think it was like Monday or so. I'm riding down the street, going to get in my truck. I see two Israelites walking down the street with their hands in their pockets, little small jackets on, and their pants with their underwear showing. Well, the day we had the cold snap, they shaking, walking. Now they embracing this. This is a shameful thing. Now there's many stories why this is why men pull their breeches down like this and show their underwear. And I'm not going pants, okay? Like I say breeches. So they pull their pants down like this. Now there's many stories why men pull their pants down. And one of the stories is, I don't know how true it is, that if you pull your pants down like this in jail, that means you're available. Does everybody understand? This was a shameful thing, but now look at it. Boys doing this got their underwear showing. Probably ain't even washed them. But anyway, let's move on. Let's move on. Let's go to Psalm 133. Psalm 133. He even got the Gentile and other races doing it now. You taught the wicked ones their ways, O house of Israel. Psalm 133 and 1. Psalm 133 and 1. Everybody got it? Because you know, brothers talk about unity. The Kemetic community. Right? The Israelite community. The Nuwapian community. The Islamic community. I'm talking about Israelite Americans now that don't know that they're Israelites. All right? So now all of these brothers talking about unity. And that's a good thing. Psalm 133 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
Psalms chapter 133 and 1.
Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity.
See, that's a good thing. How good and how pleasant it is for a brother to dwell together in unity. But I got a question for my brothers. Let's go to Amos the 3rd chapter. Amos the 3rd chapter. I got a question for my brother. Because you know, I got one brother, he keeps asking me to come on his show. Been there, done that. He keep on asking me to come on the show. He don't really want me to come on the show. Not for real. But when I come on this show again, you're going to be looking, it's going to be a shameful thing for you. Not for me. Amos the 3rd chapter, verse 3. Amos 3:3. So it is good for brothers to dwell together in unity. Amos 3:3. Go ahead and read that.
Amos chapter 3, verse 3.
Uh-huh.
Can two walk together except they be agreed?
That's what my question is. Can two walk together except they be agreed? How are we going to walk together? I believe in the God of Israel, and you worshiping the gods of Egypt. You're worshiping Islam. You're worshiping Roman Christianity. And this is some of the things that has us divided. It is religion that has us divided already. So now how are we going to come together in unity? It ain't going to happen. Can two walk together except they be agreed? No, they cannot walk together except they be agreed. That is not going to happen. Let's go to Romans the 10th chapter. Romans 10. Romans 10. And we're going to pick it up at verse 17. Romans 10 and 17. Go ahead and read it.
Romans chapter 10, verse 17.
Uh-huh.
So then faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God.
Uh-huh.
But I say, have they not heard? Yes, verily their sound went into all the earth,
Uh-huh.
and their words into the ends of the world.
Uh-huh.
But I say, did not Israel know? First Moses saith, I will provoke you to jealousy by them that are not no people.
Uh-huh.
That are no people. And by a foolish nation I will anger you.
We read that earlier, right? Go ahead and read.
But in Isaiah is very bold and saith.
I'll tell you what, skip down to verse 21. Skip to verse 21. Go ahead.
21.
Uh-huh.
But to Israel he saith, all day long I have stretched forth my hands unto a disobedient and gainsaying people.
He still got his hands stretched out. He said, but to Israel, he said, all the day long I have stretched forth my hands unto a disobedient and gainsaying people. He still has his hands stretched out to this people, although they have been disobedient. Let's go to Psalm 65. We got two more after this. Psalm 65, we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Psalm 65. Isaiah 65 and 1. Isaiah 65 and 1. We got two more. But look at what else he's saying to this people. Go ahead and read it.
Isaiah chapter 65, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
I am sought of them that ask not for me.
Uh-huh.
I am found of them that sought me not.
Go ahead.
I said, behold, behold me, until a nation that was not called by my name.
Go ahead.
I have spread out my hands all the day unto a rebellious people.
I have spread out my hands all day long to a rebellious people,
which walketh in a way that was not good, after their own thoughts.
Go ahead.
A people that provoke me to anger continually to my face.
Are we still provoking him to anger to his face? Still provoking him to anger. 2,000 years later, 3,000 years later, 4,000 years later, we still provoking the Lord to anger to his face. And he still has his hand stretched out to his people. Go ahead and read.
That sacrifice of in gardens and burn of incense upon altars of brick.
Go ahead.
Which remain among the grave and lodged in the monuments.
See, they remain among the grave and lodged in the monuments. That's these big churches and everything. They call them mega churches. It's nothing but the monument of the dead. Go ahead and read.
Which eat swine's flesh.
Which eats what?
Swine's flesh.
And
broth of the abominable things in their vessels.
Now, abominable things are in their vessels. They still eating this swine's flesh. They get ready to start eating swine's flesh coming up next month, right? What they gonna go to the store and buy? Chitlins. Still eating this swine's flesh. And the broth of abominable thing are in their mess. What else are they gonna eat? Ham. Right? Eat things sacrificed to idols. Let's go now. Jeremiah, the 3rd chapter. We got one more. Jeremiah 3. Jeremiah 3. And we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Jeremiah 3 and 1. This is what the Lord wants his people to do. Jeremiah 3. And this is what we should all be doing. Jeremiah 3 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
Jeremiah chapter 3 verse 1.
They say, if a man put away his wife, and she go from him, and become another man, shall he return to her again?
Go ahead. Now, so if you put away your wife, you're not supposed to return to her. But she's not supposed to return to you. Once you divorce her, that's it. Go ahead and read.
Shall not that land be greatly polluted?
But
thou hast played the harlot with many lovers.
He said, look, you done played the land has been polluted. You done played the harlot with many lovers. But I tell you what I'm going to do. Go ahead and read.
Yet return again to me, saith the Lord.
Yet return unto me again, saith the Lord. Still return to me. Because if a man put away his wife, then they not supposed to come back together again. He said, but look, you done played the harlot with many lovers, many different nations, with their gods. But yet, still turn to me. Still turn to me. Isn't that mercy right there?
Yes.
God is a merciful. God of Israel is a merciful God. Skip to verse 22. Skip to verse 22. Go ahead and read it.
22. Return ye backsliding children. And I will heal your backslidings.
Go ahead.
Behold, we come unto thee, for thou art the Lord our God. Truly in vain is salvation hoped for from the hills.
See, that's the only way you're gonna get. Only way you're gonna get your salvation and your help from. It is the Lord. Israel, Americans. Go ahead and read.
Truly in vain is salvation hoped for from the hills and from the multitude of mountains. Truly in the Lord our God is the salvation of Israel.
Truly in the Lord our God is the salvation of Israel. Go ahead and read.
For shame have devoured the labor of our fathers from our youth.
Go ahead.
Their flocks and their herds and their sons and their daughters.
Go ahead.
We lie down in our shame and our confusion covereth us.
You see that? He said we lie down in our shame and our confusion covereth us. Because our people are confused. We are confused. Go ahead and read.
For we have sinned against the Lord our God. We and our fathers from our youth, even until this day.
Even until this day,
They have not obeyed the voice of the Lord our God.
But, although we have sinned against them, against our God, the Lord still wants us to return to him. It's going to be last. Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter, and pick it up at verse 1. This will be last. Deuteronomy 30 and verse 1. When you get it, brother, start reading.
Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 1.
And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curses, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations.
And we have called them to mind. We have called these curses to mind. That's why we are able to tell you about it today. Because the Lord has given us the understanding of these curses. Go ahead and read.
Whether the Lord thy God have driven thee, and shalt return to the Lord thy God, and shalt obey his voice, according to all that I command thee this day.
Go ahead.
Thou and thy children, and all thine heart, and with all thy soul.
He said, look, if you and your children will turn to the Lord with all your heart and with all your soul,
that then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity.
Then the Lord will turn your captivity. You'll be going back to the land one day. Go ahead and read.
And have compassion upon thee. And will return and gather thee from all the nations, whether the Lord thy God have scattered thee. If any of thine be driven out unto the outmost parts of heaven, From thence will the Lord thy God gather thee. And from thence will he fetch thee.
He don't care where you are. He's going to gather you. If you turn back to him. Go ahead and read.
Verse 5. And the Lord thy God will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed. And thou shalt possess it.
Go ahead.
And he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. And the Lord thy God will circumcise thine heart.
He going to circumcise your heart. No longer are you going to be worshiping these other gods. You're going to be worshiping the God of Israel. Go ahead and read.
Circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed.
Go ahead.
To love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live.
Go ahead.
And the Lord thy God will put all these curses upon thy enemies.
He said, look, I'm going to put all your curses upon your enemies now. Take them off of you. If you turn back to me, I'm going to take them off of you and put them on your enemies. Go ahead and read.
And on them that hate thee.
And on them that hate thee. And what else?
Which persecuted thee.
And those that which persecuted thee.
And thou shalt return and obey the voice of the Lord. And do all his commandments, which I command thee this day.
Go ahead.
And the Lord thy God will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand.
No more you working for somebody and they reaping all the benefits of it. He said, and the Lord thy God will make thee plenteous in every work of thy hand.
In the fruit of thy body.
And the fruit of your meaning, your children going to be blessed.
And in the fruit of thy cattle. And in the fruit of thy land.
Go ahead.
For good. For the Lord will again rejoice over thee for good. As he rejoiced over thy fathers.
Verse 10. Go ahead.
If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which are written, and commandments and his statutes, which are written in this book of the law. And if thou turn unto the Lord thy God with all thine heart and with all thy soul.
So there you have it. Israelite Americans, and that's what we need to do. Turn unto our God by keeping his laws and his commandments and his statutes. Thank you.
Hallelujah.